Hey y'all, I'm Laurin Conlin, IFBB Bikini Pro, owner of Loco Fit, and I guess I do a bunch of other stuff too.
She's the worst at intros.
But I know.
You have a master's degree in exercise science?
Okay, yeah, I have a master's degree. I have done research in how different diets affect weight loss, weight regain. Mm-hmm. I've had the business for multiple years now. I should probably know that. Like 4-ish years, I think, 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. And that's like my full-time deal right now.
Co-host of
actually 2 podcasts, so Redefine Healthy Radio and The Unglamorous Life.
With Celeste.
Yeah, with Celeste Bonin, if you guys don't know.
Yeah. I'm Paul Revelia. I own Pro Physique Incorporated. Basically, I coach anybody that has a health or fitness related goal. Of late, my focus has kind of shifted more to the competitors. I am myself a pro natural bodybuilder, and I compete also with the NPC and like men's physique and stuff. So yeah, I co-host this podcast with her. I still attend school at USF studying exercise science, and I think we will both just consider ourselves like students of health and fitness and coaches.
All right, so my dream life is impacting as many people as possible in different ways. So right now, my main way, and really our main way, is through coaching, which is very one-on-one, which is amazing. The reason why we started the podcast was really to reach more people that we couldn't possibly reach through coaching or through one-on-one interactions. As we continue to grow the business and the brand, want to do more in-person stuff, traveling, seminars, webinars, those kinds of things. Basically, the same kind of message and reach as many people as possible. And then in turn, hopefully educate them enough so that they can impact people, and so on and so on. Also on top of that, like small, tiny dreams too, is being able just to travel freely. I really enjoy that. Being able to have, an income where you can travel and it not be like a stress or a burden on you. Being able to visit like different people, different places is always something that I really, really enjoy. So that was kind of like a dream, and I do that with, building the brand and everything, but just being able to do that like stress-free, like whenever possible, to impact more people and just enjoy yourself too.
All right, well said. For me, dream life starts with like financial stability. I've always been very concerned with like making sure my bills were paid, making sure I felt comfortable enough to do things. And I feel like the more financially free I am, the more I'm able to do things like travel and pursue things that I really enjoy. One thing Laurin and I really like to do is give things away for free. We're not trying to sell everyone and every little thing we do. We have our coaching business, but the reason we do the podcast, the reason we travel, put effort into our YouTube videos, is because we want to put out as much information as possible. Because once you start looking at the world through a fitness lens, you realize how much bad information is out there, how much people actually need help and good information, and how hard it is to tell what's right from what's wrong out there. There's so much misinformation. So I feel like our little tiny pinhole into the world, we are trying to put as much good information out there. And so, after providing for my family and having that foundation, that's really what we're trying to do.
I would say that myself and Paul are both kind of living that dream life or building towards it, right? We might not be there 100% yet, but I don't think really anybody ever is if they're like trying to be really successful. Like they're always
just need a Bugatti.
I saw one for the first time ever, which I definitely wouldn't want one of those. But if money was indispensable, I guess people would buy those. But for us, really, it's getting there, right? Like we are trying our best every day to kind of work towards it. Yeah. We're not there yet, but we're taking the steps. And at some point, it's going through those kind of business, like small business pains of like, okay, it's just us, and then it's like hiring somebody else, and then getting, somebody else to do this work for you, and then, things that you're not good at, and basically just growing small, like step by step in a sizable manner, I guess, is really what we're trying to do so that we can reach the ultimate like dream goal. So it really just comes down to like time, finances, finding the right people, and we're kind of making our way. You've done a really good job of that this year.
So the difference between Laurin and I is she went to school, got out of school, and she already had her business running. I had a career for 15 years. So for me, the dream life is basically that I'm my own boss. I get to make my own decisions. I get to say what time I want to work, what I want to do. I've had the fortune, I think last year, what did we do? 12, 15 trips around the country.
Yeah, we did a lot.
We've gone to Australia for work. So like the fact that I get to not get in my car every morning like I used to do, drive a half hour to work, sit at a desk for 10 hours, come home, then I got to do what I wanted to do. To me, this is already a dream life. We're just putting ourselves in positions to make sure that we get to do this forever, that we get to continue.
Challenge is basically, oh shit, this is like so hard to put into like concise words, but continuously forcing myself to follow through with like self-development is really important, because it all really starts with you. And I think a lot of times we think about like, oh, if I had this or I had that, right? And kind of how I was talking about, like, we're trying to build stuff and you need other resources, but really everything starts with you. If you don't have the foundation, you're never going to be successful, no matter how big or small you want your business to be. So forcing myself to do self-development, forcing myself to do things that are uncomfortable, and this can be the smallest things, from like, listening to a podcast a week, or reading a new book, or like breathing drills that I don't want to do after my training that my boyfriend insists that I do, and that all helps me not get injured, which helps me then train better, which helps me, the small things all add up. So that's kind of really what it is. I think it just starts with the self-development and forcing yourself to grow in no matter how big or small that area is.
Yeah, so challenging myself is constantly about not letting myself get too comfortable, because comfortability can create a rut, right? So you get comfortable with a certain amount of income, a certain schedule, but to improve, to become a better person or become better at your craft. So one of the things I like to do is I like to take classes at USF, so it would be very easily for me to sit in my office and just work and have a bunch of clients and never really push for what's next. But stepping outside my comfort zone, taking that class, stepping outside of my comfort zone and attending seminars, getting to know the people in the fitness industry or the health industry in general that are doing things that I don't understand or I want to learn more about. Laurin's great at reading books. I'm not great at reading books, but I love to get...
Do you even read?
Yeah, once a semester. Exercise and physiology. But so like for me, it's about finding information that I can use myself and push myself. And for me, getting out of my comfort zone really early on was about putting myself on the internet. Like, to me, making YouTube videos and posts on Instagram was very intimidating. I was not very comfortable with it. I've learned to get very comfortable with it at this point, but it took being uncomfortable, and that's something I'm trying to push her to do more, is put out more content. She's gotten much better at it, but we both struggled with that idea of like, who the hell wants to listen to us? So yeah, it's
like a daily struggle. Like, why am I even making this? Like, who cares?
Yeah. So that's really the little challenges, like she said, where we push ourselves to, like attend fitness expos that we don't necessarily need to be there, but we always feel rewarded when we do it. We're like, man, thank God we did that.
So I think that we're both influenced in the world with like the health and fitness perspective, and that really looks different to everybody. So a lot of people will look at what we do personally or as coaches, and they think it's only competitors, right? They're like, oh, well, that's what everybody sees. Like, that's like the most extreme example, right? But it's really helping everybody from like the very beginning baby steps to, okay, maybe you should have some more like fruits and vegetables, and like this is what protein is to your diet, right? And I know that sounds like silly, but especially if you're like in it so much already, but really helping everyone from that level all the way to the very elite kind of an athlete. And that's how we're trying to have our influences, is hitting every target audience, giving advice that's applicable to really everybody. And the podcast, which is kind of our slogan, is, to redefine healthy. Like, what does that mean to you? Like, what is healthy? Like, so that's really what our main goal is.
I think from my perspective, when I first started learning about fitness or nutrition or any of that stuff was very early on in the 90s, and a lot of the information that I got was bad. And so what I like to do now is kind of not tell people what they're doing is wrong, but suggest that, hey, maybe if you're doing it this way, if you looked at it from this perspective, you could change the outcome. Because I feel like too many people try to force their ideas down other people's throat, and that's not what we're about. That's why when we were coming up with the ideas for the podcast name, we didn't want to make it too specific. And the term Redefine Healthy Radio was actually because Laurin and I's definition of health has been redefined over the last couple of years. We came from a very specific, like, this is how you do things and this is right. And now we go, maybe we're the ones that have the bad view. Let's look at this perspective. And ever since we started doing that, I feel like it's been better for our audience because we're being honest with ourselves and we're able to share that. But at the same time, we're not telling people what they're doing is right or wrong. We're just trying to share our opinion on the topics.
Jeez. As far as legacy goes and like what I want to leave behind, I would say honestly, it's just a person who is open to new ideas, but is still like grounded in their beliefs. I think a lot of people are very, very like dead set in their beliefs and they won't change them, or they're too open and they never really stand for anything. So I feel like there's a lot of like both of those, and I don't really think that either are right. Like there's some people who are extremely intelligent and they're, experts in their field and they can have that kind of stance, but I think that you should always be willing to try new things, learn new things, be open to new opportunities. And I think I want to be that person who kind of bridges like being open to new ideas, new things, but also being grounded in kind of my perspective.
So if I'm talking about legacy, first and foremost has to come to my son and my future son. Like, I want to, because when I think of my dad, I think of how amazing, growing up with him was. So first and foremost, I want everyone to think like awesome dad, like awesome husband, that type of thing. Then when it comes to like my career and the things that I've chosen, it would just be to be a great example for people. And I probably still don't know, because this is still so new. It feels like we've been doing it for a while, but we're still figuring things out. Like coaching, the way that we do it, has only been around for maybe a decade, right? And maybe only the last 5 years has it been a serious career. So I think the one thing that Laurin and I struggle the most with is like, are we doing enough? Are we putting in the work to make sure that we're going to be successful in the future? First and foremost, the most important thing for us is our clients. Like, are they happy? Are they successful? And if they're not, what are we doing wrong and how can we correct that? So, as far as legacy is concerned, I think I would want people to think, Paul was the best coach he could possibly be. He was always trying to be a better coach. And then maybe in the future, because I knew Paul, my life was better. Whether I helped them with their coaching business, their competitive career, their eating disorder, whatever it is, just because they knew me some way that their life was better. Okay, so Redefine Healthy Radio was actually Laurin and I's quest to provide more information, because the one thing that we struggle with as coaches is we have a very limited amount of time to answer emails, right? So our clients get that time. They are paying for that service. We understand that coaching is a luxury, but yet we feel like there's a lot of people that we need to reach that potentially would benefit from the information. So it was a plane ride home from Junior Nationals last year. We pulled out a notebook and just started jotting down ideas, and Laurin's slogan is actually Redefine Healthy. And we could not come up with a title. We had a kind of an idea, and then I just looked at her website and I thought, well, what about Redefine Healthy as the concept? Because, like I said, the thing about our journeys is that we've kind of changed our perspective. And the one thing that we've learned as we've evolved is that as you're evolving, you realize, okay, there's a benefit to not being so set in what you believe and what you think. And so we just want to bring people on that have completely different views than us, that challenge us, that...
and we talk about stuff too that we're not even experts, obviously we preface it with that.
Yeah.
But we talk about things that we're kind of semi-uncomfortable with or still learning about, or just bringing up new ideas, because that's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
And healthy means a lot of different things to a lot of people. So if we can, educate people on a whole bunch of different topics, and then they get to choose what they want to do, or like, hey, this is what we found to work for us, don't do this, or do that, and any advice that we can give, still within the lane of like health and fitness and psychology and that kind of umbrella, but it's really all about that. And any guests we bring on, we try to have like a different point of view that they're bringing, or something that they can offer.
Yeah.
You can find the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud at Redefine Healthy Radio, and that is also our Instagram page as well.
Yeah, we have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page. We actually own the website, redefinehealthyradio.com. And then tell them your social media stuff.
So mine is at LAURIN CONLIN for everything. If you spell my name right, you'll find it, LAURIN.
Mine is at Paul Revelia, and if you spell my name right, you'll find it, because my last name is Revelia. I'm the only one in the whole world. Not literally,
only one.
But so yeah, I think we're very easy to find on social media. If you type our names in the Google machine, you will find all of our Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, websites. It's a very easy step to get in touch with us.
So bad at those.
Oh, you got it backwards head. I better go backwards head.
Let's start with this. I'm real bad at closing, so
Good opening, I guess.
yeah. If you listen to the podcast,
I literally asked her when she wrote papers if she had a problem with the first and last paragraph. She's like, yes.
Yes.
The body I was fine with. You go first.
Oh